Welcome back, Gadgeteers. Today I thought I would talk a little bit about a system that apparently, at least from the rumors, is going to go away, and that is the MacBook Air, which I have right behind me. Now, the model that I have, I actually bought for my wife back in 2015, and it is the mid 2013 model. It's a i7 with 8 gigabytes of RAM, and it has a 128 gigabyte SSD on board and a 1440 by 900 screen, and I think it's a TN panel. I'm really not sure. I'll put the specs down below so that you can have a look at it. So the rumor has it that the MacBook Air is going to disappear because there's an order that Apple has placed for new 13-inch IPS panels. So the thing about that is they're not really designed to fit in the 13.3-inch MacBook Pro, so these are slightly smaller. So many people are speculating that what that basically indicates is that the MacBook Air is going to be phased out, and there's going to be a new MacBook that's going to be a 13-inch that will also be on sale along with the 12-inch. The downside to that is that I think it's going to be a little bit expensive for a while for that MacBook 13-inch, and the MacBook Air is such a deal for the value. I've found that I really enjoy using the Air to the point where I've considered just going ahead and selling off my MacBook Pro and my MacBook because I could just use my wife's MacBook Air. The cool thing about it is it still weighs less than the new MacBook Pro 2017. So specs wise, I made some notes here. It's 2.96 pounds, which is still lighter than the MacBook Pro 2017. So what do I like about the MacBook Air, and why do I still consider it a great value? Well, first thing is it has a beautiful bright screen. Now, it of course does not have the resolution of any of the Retina model computers that you can get from Apple, but it still has a very nice display. When I compare it to the older MacBook Pros that had the non-Retina display, this one is so much better looking than those are, and it's kind of like halfway in between the old MacBook Pros and the new Retina MacBook Pros. So it's really quite nice when you look at it. Now, the viewing angle is not as nice, but to me that's not a con but a pro, because if you're on an airplane or whatever, it makes it difficult for somebody to read what you have on your screen if the viewing angle is very extreme for them. And it doesn't bother me when I'm looking at it. It looks perfectly fine. The other thing I really like about this unit is that it's very thin and it's very portable, to the point that it lands somewhere in between the MacBook 2015 that I own, which is about a little over 2 pounds, and the MacBook Pro 2017. So this is on the heavier side, 2.96 pounds, but still not bad. Yes, it has huge bezels, but looking at that MacBook Air, aren't they beautiful? Okay, maybe they're not that beautiful, but the cool thing is when you open up the MacBook Air, you are not going to touch the screen and get fingerprints all over the screen like you do with the MacBook Pro or the MacBook. So that's, to me, a real plus. Unfortunately, one of the things I don't like about the MacBook Air is when you open it up, you can't use a single finger. The MacBook just wants to pop up and come up with you when you're trying to open it. The MacBook Air has 2 full USB ports and a Thunderbolt port for output for video, which looks wonderful when I send it to my 4K Retina TV or even my 1080p monitor, or quite frankly, any device that I use. The Thunderbolt port works great for connecting to a 4K TV or my 1080p monitor, and it gives me more screen real estate that I can use when I'm doing video editing or doing editing of images using GIMP or whatever I'm doing. It works wonderful. The unit has a physical glass trackpad, and when you do push down on the trackpad, it does click, but it is not the taptic feedback engine of the newer MacBooks. But I really cannot tell a difference. The good news is trackpad is very, very accurate, just as you come to expect from other MacBooks, and I cannot find a Windows computer that comes anywhere close to what you can get with a MacBook. What else do I like about the MacBook Air? This thing is a killer on the battery. When I did the check to see how much time I had left on the battery, and yes, it's still on El Capitan, so I can tell how much time I have left on the battery. It's estimating 12 to 13 hours of time left at a full charge. Speaking of battery, when I charged the battery on this unit, going from 20%, I was able to charge the battery in about 90 minutes to 100% capacity. So the charge time is really very fast, all things considered. So battery life still beats the MacBook Pro and the MacBook 2015 that I have. And that's the thing. It's light and the battery time is excellent. Geekbench scores for this unit came in at 3274 for single core on Geekbench 4 and 6802 on the multi-core score, and this one is sporting the i7 4650U processor. Now compare that to my MacBook Pro, or excuse me, my MacBook 2015, which gets a score of 3021 on single core and 5456 on multi-core. The MacBook Pro 2017, on the other hand, gets a whopping 4,503 on single core and 9,545 on multi-core. So, of course, the 2017 MacBook Pro is going to be far better, but don't be fooled. This i7 unit still does excellent, even though it's 3 generations older as far as the processor goes. The other thing I really enjoy about this system is the fact that I bought it used in perfect, flawless condition with all of the accessories that came with it, the box, the power supply, everything. And I got the unit back then for about $600. So today I would be looking to pay somewhere between $400 to $500 for this unit if I was going to buy it today. Still a major bargain, still excellent processing power. Another thing that it has that I really like is, of course, the MagSafe connection. So I'm able to actually not worry too much about the MagSafe connection getting pulled off from the MacBook Air and pulling the unit on the floor like I am with the new MacBook Pro and the MacBook 2015. The bottom line, do I really think the MacBook Air is going to go away? Unfortunately, I'm going to go with yes. If you think about the MacBook, even the 12-inch model, I'm sure the 2017 has now exceeded that, even with the Core M processor, as far as performance goes. So it's going to be much better than the MacBook Air is, unfortunately. And the MacBook is lighter. So if they bring out a 13-inch unit with the same type of chassis as the 12-inch unit, I can't imagine they would keep a MacBook Air around. There's really no point in upgrading it and putting in a new IPS panel and changing out the hardware. Really, I just don't see it happening. I think it would be, in my opinion, logical to just go with a slight redesign of a 13-inch MacBook, and basically you could use the same motherboard since it only has one port on the side anyway. I thought that going to a MacBook with a single port was going to be a disaster, but it wasn't a problem at all. I have the dongle and everything works great. With the MacBook Air, you don't have to worry about that, of course, because you have 2 full USB Type A ports, the older style, and you do have the Thunderbolt if you want to do video out. Would you and should you buy a MacBook Air today? I would say absolutely. If you could get one for a really good value that was used and it was in perfect condition, absolutely, why not? I don't think I would buy a new one. I think I would just scrape together a couple of extra pennies and maybe go up to a MacBook 2017 base model. If you're really trying to save money, you can get 256 gigabytes of storage and 8 gigs of RAM and the Retina display and the lightness and portability, just like you do with the Air, but it's a more modern system. If you really are in the market for a system and you can't afford very much, why not get a MacBook Air? They're pretty nice, I have to admit. I can't see any reason, honestly, why you wouldn't buy one if you could pick it up used and you were in the market for a MacBook Air. So just wanted to reminisce on what I considered a really nice system and one that I've enjoyed for years. Hopefully you found this video fun. If not, well, you can always leave me a message and let me know how terrible it was. If you did enjoy it, of course, like and subscribe. And I will see you on the next video by FastGadgets. This video was made possible with support from viewers like you. If you find this video useful, consider becoming a patron for as little as $1 a month at patreon.com/FastGadgets.